Hey y'all, before the video gets started, as you can probably see by the title of the video, I will be discussing some interesting developments regarding ClayRanger143. This video will contain discussions of mature topics, including sexual abuse, sexual misconduct, physical battery, and possibly more. If you're sensitive to any of those things, I recommend maybe you don't watch the video. Nothing will be covered in detail of what happened, but it will be mentioned. So please, if you're sensitive to those things, I completely understand. I would recommend that you don't watch this video. I hate that I have to do this, but we need to talk. Yes, it's about ClayRanger. I know, some people aren't going to want to hear about it, but honestly, to be blunt about it, that's too bad. We cannot allow for people like Clay to be prolific in our community. For those of you who don't know, in about October of 2022, late October, some allegations were raised against ClayRanger about him being sexually abusive to a minor. And while the evidence was already pretty damning, I guess technically it had never been really confirmed. But today, January 22nd, 2023, a new document has been dropped showing that Clay could potentially be guilty of sexual misconduct, sexual abuse, and depending on how you look at it in certain states, statutory rape. These are serious charges. Okay, so why am I talking about this now? Well, because the document dropped today. And like I said, it shows very damning evidence and testimonies from multiple victims of Clay being sexually inappropriate around minors and overall just being really creepy and weird around minors. There was parts in the document that showed that he complained about how some of his behavior was shown in The Predators on To Catch a Predator. You know, the show with Chris Hansen. Does that not, ring any alarm bells in people's heads? At all? Honestly, I don't really know what to say. It's crazy that people are still defending Clay after this. Look, I kind of thought it was a little weird for people to still be completely on Clay's side, no questions asked after Nova's video dropped. And Nova's video already had really good evidence. And I knew Clay was guilty from the second that he was laughing that his fans harassed Nova with porn and they deleted the evidence folder. That is beyond fucked up. And you know that it just makes it worse because most of the community are minors. And why were fans of Clay spamming Nova with fucking fetish porn and shit? Does that not speak to the type of company that Clay keeps? There's one group of people I feel almost as bad for as I do for the victims. Seriously, I just want to say my heart goes out to all of the victims. I'm so sorry for what Clay put you through. And I hope that one day you can heal from this. But to get back to my point, if there's one group I feel almost as bad for as I do for the victims, it's some of his fans. And I'm not saying this because I was a fan of his. I don't give a fuck about Clay or his videos. I don't. But I do have a lot of friends that cared about Clay and enjoyed his content and looked up to him as an idol. And I know Clay's probably never going to watch this video, but I have to say this to you. Do you not understand how much power you hold with your channel? These people genuinely look up to you. That's not an opportunity to squander. And then not even just that, I wouldn't be surprised if you used your status, intentionally or not, as a popular YouTube creator to manipulate these people. It's the same old story about how rock stars would use their status as rock stars to manipulate young girls, or how celebrities will do the same to children. It's no different. It's just on a smaller scale. And I have to ask you, Clay, seriously, for what? For fucking what? Was what you did to those people worth it? Was it worth losing all of your friends, ruining your life, letting down thousands of people, and hurting so many of them that looked up to you and cared about you? All for what? to get your rocks off, dude. Seriously, if you see this, please fucking get help. I want to have hope that you're just lost and that you can be recovered, but I don't really know anymore, man. You can't fuck this up 3 different times on accident. And when I say all that, don't think that I'm having sympathy for Clay. Not at all. I do not want to believe there's people so far gone in this world that they are truly without saving. But sometimes that's the case. And honestly, this might be one of them. This might genuinely be one of them. To anyone who is somehow still aligned with Clay, I don't know why, but let me just say this. Why? Seriously, like, what do you expect to gain from him? Or to gain by being his friend or his associate? And I just want to say that before you get all pissy, we're not rivals, okay? We don't need to be fighting over a person who committed pedophilic actions, okay? Like, why are we fighting about this? This is fucking ridiculous. I want to make something very clear, and something that in the future, not just the EAS creators, but everyone should think about. And if you're younger, please listen to me here. We need to be more on the lookout for this type of behavior, okay? The average age of the EAS community, if I had to estimate, they're below 18 for sure, but I would say between 13 to 15 years old. And then the rest are either older teens or young adults, like me. I'm 20. So, it's a double-sided responsibility, okay? And I'm not saying this to victim blame or anything. No, of course not. If some kid gets pulled in by a pedo, it's not their fault. They don't know any better. But I will say that kids, you need to remain more vigilant of this type of behavior, okay? And the adults, like me, and other creators that are adults, like Harvester and Radio, for example, we need to do a better job in our servers and on our channels. We need to watch out for these kids, and we need to be able to have open avenues for them to be able to come discuss this with someone if they need help, if they feel that they are being misused or abused. Let me ask, I'm not pointing fingers here, I'm really not, but according to the document and the victims, which obviously I'm inclined to believe them, they claim that this behavior from Clay could have been going on as early as 2019. It's 2023 now. And that was during his main prolific run. And he was potentially doing this to more people than we know. How did nobody see the signs? I'm not trying to be accusatory, but it genuinely blows my mind. Or were people covering for him? Because that kind of seems to be the case, looking back at it. I'm not going to name any names, but people are, and definitely, or sorry, they were, and they still are, covering Clay's ass. I just want to say that most of those people have seen the error of their ways in that regard, and thank you. I'm not gonna come over and fucking shit on you and be like, wow, you supported Clay. As long as you see the error of your ways, and that, you know, when presented with new evidence, you were like, damn, okay, I fucked up, I'm sorry. I respect you, okay? But if you're still on Clay's side after this, I can't respect you. And I have to say that if anyone who follows this channel still supports Clay in any regard, please just unfollow me, unsubscribe, I don't care. I think that's most of what I have to say. I guess some closing thoughts here. Again, Clay, you are truly a despicable human being. I personally believe you should rot in jail. But honestly, you might be kind of lucky because the fucking justice system in the United States is so just shitty that you might actually get away with it. And that makes me sick to think. From here on out, we all together, creators and community members, need to keep an eye out for people exhibiting sexually explicit behavior around minors. And also, this is just my humble opinion, I don't really think there should be any sexual behavior in the EAS community, not just based on the fact that there's a lot of young kids around, but just why? It's a community about the emergency alert system. Like, why should we be having those types of discussions here? Well, really, it's quite a simple answer, is that nobody should be having those discussions publicly in the EAS community, or just really in what is supposed to be safe for work communities in general. And also something I've heard people, and especially Clay in the document, bring up: do not pull the age of consent bullshit, okay? Don't try pulling, oh, it's 16 in some states, it's even lower in other countries. No. Okay? No. 18 years old is the generally agreed upon point where people become adults. That could be argued, but if anything, I would argue it's older, not younger. But 18, we have to put it at some point, and that's where we consider people adults. Minors do not have the capacity to consent because they have not developed emotionally and sometimes even sexually enough to the point to where they can make, involved, rational decisions. And to any minors watching this video, that is not a slight to your intelligence or anything. It is just genuinely, it is a completely different world when you are an adult. And I know you hate hearing that. I hated hearing that when I was a kid. But once you become an adult, you realize very quickly that it's true. And obviously, according to the document, Clay was living in a very different world than what most teens probably should be interacting with online. Clay would go on and on about how he was just such a sexual person and he'd make sexual jokes and stuff. Yeah, you're weird for starters. Second off, you shouldn't be around children then if you really can't control yourself that fucking much. This has been going on a lot longer than I thought it would. Sorry, I guess I just had a lot to say. But, yeah. To kind of wrap it up again, like I said it would last time, hope Clay rots in prison. And as a community, I hope we can kind of move on from this at some point and take this as a learning experience, because it wasn't a learning experience in the past with people like RMWX and ClayEAS, because it just happened again, and this time with one of the community's most prolific creators. I guess my point is that all of us could overall just benefit from being a little bit more aware of our surroundings, and if you see something, say something. Like, no one's gonna make fun of you because you think that someone is being harassed. And if they do, please get away from them. They're fucking terrible people. And come to me or, like my server or something and talk about it, dude. Like, we'll support you. Thank you for listening to me rant and rave about Clay. This has been a situation that's kind of been bubbling for, well, really ever since October, but it's very recently come to a head in the past couple of weeks. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a little, I guess it's not really stressful, but it's very depressing. It's very depressing. On so many accounts, the victims, like, what it's done to the community, the fact that Clay isn't, under fucking arrest, that's pretty depressing. It's a lot, but we'll get through it, and in the end, we'll all come out better people for it, okay? Just, please, if there was a time to come together, it's now. Please. One last thing. If you're going to say that this was just a drama video, or, oh, I'm getting tired of hearing about the Clay drama, please stop using the word drama to describe the situation. Drama implies that it's petty bullshit that, in chit-chat gossip. No. A fully grown adult groomed and sexually abused, at least, according to the document, 3 different minors. This goes beyond drama. It's about time that we started taking sexual abuse and sexual misconduct more seriously, because not doing so is what leads us down a path that led us to today.